They say I'm your love victim, they could be wrong. You said that you'd please me all night long. You threatened to soothe me, but you only tease me. You said that you'd love me and never deceive me. There's only one thing I have to say. I won't have it any other way. Allow me to make a suggestion to you. Make it so, make it so, make it so. Baby, make it so. They say I'm your love victim, they could be right. What about kissing and hugging all night? You said you'd love me, never break my heart. I'd have it real good, when will it start? There's only one thing I have to say. I won't have it any other way. Allow me to make a suggestion to you. Make it so, make it so, make it so. Baby, make it so. Well, now knock me out with your kissing. Smother me with your love. Wine me and dine me, that's what I need plenty of. Bring me pretty flowers. Shower me with diamonds and money. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. They say I'm your love victim, baby, they're right. No need to fuss, no need to fight. You are a champion with what you do. As long as you love me, it's gonna be me and you. There's only one thing I have to say. I won't have it any other way. Allow me to make a suggestion to you. Make it so.
I was walking down the street one day, feeling lost and all alone, feeling like I'd never ever have someone to call my own. Saw you sitting in the restaurant, and I knew I had received a sign. And all of a sudden the gray skies parted, and the sun began to shine. Hair so dark and lovely, your skin so soft and tan. I knew I had to make you my woman, I had to be your man. Exotically beautiful woman, girl of my timeless dreams. I've loved you forever, darling. At least that's the way it seems. How can I make you love me? How can I make you mine? Tell me, beautiful lady, how can I make you mine?
Hello, and welcome back to The Main. My name is Stephen Nyman, and thank you so much for your continued support of live theater. The City of Santa Clarita and The Main are proud to present the 4th installment of the Stage on Screen Theater Festival. Join us on the 6-week journey through the world of 6 plays that all share the current theme of the current zeitgeist, meaning they represent the ideals and spirit of today. Our festival is 6 weeks long, featuring a new show every Friday night at 7 p.m., premiering on the City of Santa Clarita's YouTube page and the Main's Facebook page. Also, take a look behind the scenes and join us for the Main Cast, where we interview a few cast and crew members from each show. A new Main Cast will premiere every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the City's YouTube page and the Main's Facebook page. If you miss it, you can catch it after the show. If you need closed captioning, YouTube has now made closed captioning available for all performances. Now, all of the Main shows are free to watch. However, this festival would not be possible without the time and talent of these independent theater companies. If you are able to donate, please do. These donations go directly to the theater companies, cast, and crew. It is important to support theater artists, especially as we prepare for live shows. You can find more info of how to donate in the description down below. As a reminder, SOS 4 will be on the city's YouTube page and the Main's Facebook page until July 9th. Also, while you're there, you can check out our other events, including 10x10, New Heights, and of course, food sessions. We at the Main would like to thank Phil Lantis, Jeff Barber, the City of Santa Clarita's communication and leadership, and of course you, our patrons, for your continued support of our events this past year. SOS 4's information can be found on our Facebook page, where you can follow and like us at the Main Newhall. Thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate your support. Enjoy the show.
The views and opinions expressed in this performance are not necessarily those of the City of Santa Clarita. This show may contain content that may not be suitable for all age groups. Viewer discretion is advised.
I was walking down the street one day, feeling lost and all alone, feeling like I'd never ever have someone to call my own. Saw you sitting in the restaurant, and I knew I had received a sign. And all of
Ruby, Ward, we're so sorry about your father's death.
Thanks, Uncle John.
We're glad you all could come.
Oh, Linda and I had to come.
Yes, we did.
We're just sorry for such a sad occasion.
I had to be here for my sister.
Aunt Connie, look, we came as soon as we could. I'm sorry. How are you holding up?
I'm doing quite well, Rex. I'm glad you're all here. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, nothing could have kept me away. You know that.
Oh, we're so sorry, Aunt Connie. What else can I say?
When family calls, what can we do?
We support. That's what we do.
Yes, that's what families are for. We've always been so close, even you children.
Been a long time, Rex. Linda?
True. I mean, we had some great times together, the four of us.
It all seems so long ago, really.
Yeah.
Don't make us sound so ancient, Ruby. We're still quite young.
Not as young as some of us would like to be, I'm afraid.
And what is that supposed to mean, Ruby?
Father's death wasn't the only shock we received upon arrival yesterday.
We tried to make it here before he died, but we were a few hours too late.
Well, death is always shocking, even when it's expected. It has the power to completely unnerve one.
Yeah.
At least Ward didn't suffer. It's better that way, quick and easy.
You all might as well just know the truth. It was that young woman he was carrying on with that killed him. She took him entirely too fast, and his heart simply couldn't take it.
Well, Mother, you're a fine one to talk, aren't you?
Is that why, Mother? Is that your excuse?
First, yes, but that's all changed now.
You're darn right it has. Father is dead. There's nothing standing in your way now. Is that right, Mother?
Ward Jr., this isn't exactly your mother's doing, you know.
Two wrongs don't make a right, Aunt Angie. I believe some brilliant somebody once said that.
The girl was a fortune hunter. She was using your father.
Oh, well, what do you think about Mother's situation?
That girl is 23 years old, and there's no comparison.
The hell there isn't.
Hey, what's going on here?
Well, what is this argument you two have been having with your mother ever since we've been here?
Really, children, you should be more compassionate and respectful, especially at a time like this.
Well, whatever it is, it certainly can wait till after Uncle Ward's funeral.
Was Uncle Ward really fooling around? Is that it?
You bet your life he was, Rex. Poor Connie.
Yeah, poor Mother. She can hardly contain her grief.
Your father was unfaithful to me. But I still cared about him because he was my husband.
But in name only, right, Mother? When you and Father moved here to Clareville, you didn't fool anyone, you know.
We knew what was going on with the two of you.
Oh, you knew about your father, yes. But had you heard anything about me?
No, but that doesn't mean...
No, but nothing. You'd heard nothing about me because there was nothing to hear.
My goodness, what is going on and how long has it been going on?
Rex, this is none of our business.
I beg to differ, my dear sister. I mean, we're family. Now, what's going on here?
Mother and Father have been separated for the past 2 years.
Oh, Aunt Connie, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Oh, she felt no pain, believe me.
I didn't know, Connie. I'm so sorry.
It was common knowledge for a while.
You were always a bit slow, Moses.
Well, why didn't you just get a divorce, for goodness sake?
Because neither one of us wanted that. We both had too much to lose. Ward wasn't even sure what he wanted, and I just kept telling myself, oh, he's just going through a phase.
And what were you going through, Mother?
Yes, please tell us, Mother. Is this just a phase for you too?
You know what? I've heard about all I can stand from the two of you. Now that's enough.
Will someone please tell us outsiders what this is all about?
Tell them, Mother, or shall we?
This is my business, and I don't care to discuss it any further. Now stop it, both of you.
We're not children anymore, Mother. You can't order us around, and that includes telling us when and where we may speak.
And what makes you think you can order my life around? You're my children. Try to remember that.
Okay, stop it, please. Ward and Ruby, whatever is bothering you, this is not a good time to discuss it.
From the way this conversation is going, I assume your mother began a new life of her own during your father's philandering. And I'd say that is her business. At least she was discreet about it, which is more than can be said about your father.
Thank you.
You dare slander our dead father's name, Uncle John.
Oh, your father slandered his own name, Ward Jr. Everybody knew about him and that Jones woman.
The truth hurts sometimes, Ruby, Ward Jr. Just remember, you're not responsible for actions of other people, your father included.
That's right, children. He was doing what he wanted to do, apparently. He was a grown man. No one forced him to do what he did.
Mother could have driven him to it.
Ruby, can we change the subject, please?
What else is there to talk about?
Let's try to find something else, Rex, shall we?
But this is really quite intriguing, Aunt Angie.
Look, Ward is dead. This is the purpose of this gathering. Our lives before his death are of no concern.
True. We're all grieving over the loss of a relative. Why don't we just do it in silence?
My word, Aunt Connie, were you and Uncle Ward into an open marriage?
Lord, boy, where do you get these ideas?
Oh, I pray we won't crucify poor Ward on the way to his grave.
And no, Rex, your Uncle Ward and I weren't into that sort of thing.
Why don't we talk about your marriage, Rex?
Which one?
How about the one you're in now?
What is there to talk about?
Plenty. You're only 28 years old and you're on your second wife already.
Look, that's not so bad. Look, there are plenty of young men who have been married, 3 or 4, even 4 times.
But they didn't begin their marriage careers at the age of 25.
Tell me, my old little maid sister, why didn't you ever get married?
Because I never found the right man, and I have plenty of time. I refuse to marry just for the sake of doing so.
You're a smart girl, my dear.
I wish I had waited longer. But my marriage was sort of arranged for me, wasn't it, Mother?
That's not so.
But it is. I married the man you wanted me to marry. It didn't matter what I wanted. Right, Mother? Isn't that right?
Oh, my
now,
God.
look at you.
You know what? I wanted what was best for you.
Maybe you'll make this one work, Rex.
I'm trying, Uncle Moses.
Marriage is a wonderful institution. I love my wife and children.
We all did it one time, Ward Jr.
John, you and Emma Jane aren't having any problems, I hope.
There's no imminent danger that I know of at this time.
Uncle John, your problem is that you've been married to the same woman for too long.
Rex!
What? But I'm right, Aunt Angie. Look, one should put a little spice in one's life every now and then. You know, if a man is going to keep the same wife, he should have an affair every few years. I mean, to help things go along. It has been proven that affairs are healthy to a marriage.
Oh my.
And whose book, Rex?
Some lunatics. That's about all he reads.
Rex, my boy, I'm ashamed of you.
Surely you don't mean what you just said, Rex.
I presume that he does.
I'd say that he does.
Except not only does he have affairs, he marries them. He doesn't have time to get bored with just one. How many shall he have gone through by the time he's 40?
If all the changes haven't killed him by then.
Maybe he wants to be like his great Uncle Rufus. God rest his soul.
I'd say he's on the road to reaching his goal.
Oh, yes, Uncle Rufus.
Yeah, poor Uncle Rufus.
Now that was a sad situation.
Uncle Rufus was a great man. I mean, he might have deviated in his final days, but he was the best.
Oh, that was more than just a deviation, Rex. If he had married that hooker.
The ex-hooker?
Whatever.
Mother told us about that. Whatever happened to all of them?
Well, I guess your mother told you that Odella, the housekeeper, went to jail for murdering Uncle Rufus.
Yes, that's right.
Frank the butler inherited.
While the rest of us were cut out without a cent.
Frank took up with Flexi, Rufus's 29-year-old fiancée.
The ex-hooker?
Until he found out what she was. Then he sent her packing.
Frank was smarter than we thought.
Odella pled insanity, and as soon as she got out of jail, Frank married her.
And they are still living happily ever after.
Is it really true that Odella killed Uncle Rufus because
she said that he was using her. She was his concubine. I believe that's how she termed it. Making her endearing promises and then dumping her when someone else came along. She just had enough of it.
Are you condoning her killing Uncle Rufus, Angie?
Certainly not, John. Murder is never the solution to any problem. It's just the one that she happened to choose.
And on the other hand, how could we condemn her for that? After all, Uncle Rufus was inhumanely cruel. He was asking for it, if you ask me.
Oh, Mother, I do believe you're still upset because you were not remembered in his will.
We were all upset, but not to the point where we wanted him dead, Ward Jr. I'm sure that's not what your mother was implying.
Of course not. I only meant that Uncle Rufus had no right to toy with Odella's affections the way he did.
There's truly no fury like that of a woman scorned.
You'd better remember that, Cousin Rex.
But if she lets him,
Naturally, you would see nothing wrong with it.
Oh, Frank the butler had an affair with Flexi, Uncle Rufus's fiance, then married the maid Odella, whose was Uncle Rufus's concubine turned cold calculating murderess. What a story. If the media had ever gotten hold of that, our family would have been ruined.
Well, that's true. And thank goodness for that little secluded little town where they live. The murder didn't get any further than their daily newspaper.
Ooh, how did you keep up with everything?
Well, I was curious, so I called Frank every now and then, and he was most obliging.
And you men say that we women have a patent on gossiping.
Oh, no, it wasn't gossip. I was worried that the story would leak out, that's all.
Yeah.
Uncle Rufus was some man. You know, I just hope I'm as virile and as sexy as he was when I get old.
If you live that long.
And even if you do, at the rate you're going with the ladies, my dear cousin, you'll be long worn out before then.
No way. If Uncle Rufus could do it, so can I.
Looking at your track record so far, Rex, you'll surpass Uncle Rufus. He only had 3 wives over a period of, approximately 45 years.
Hey, not bad at all.
If your philosophy about women and marriage ever hits the street, you'll be dead, dear brother.
Your water would truly be cut off. No woman would let you touch her with a 10-foot pole. What good would your virility be then?
Look, women love me. They will always love me and what I have to offer.
If you mean money, you're going through your inheritance like hotcakes. And your investments, well, they aren't exactly growing by leaps and bounds either.
What is this? A conspiracy against Rex? And Ward, I at least thought you would understand.
We're not kids any longer, Rex. We had fun in our make-believe world back then, but we're all grown up now. And what we're living is for real.
I know that. And I am for real. I truly believe in what I'm doing.
But you don't hold family to be sacred.
I don't have a family.
The wife is the beginning of the family. If you should have children, you would want them by the same woman, I hope.
I mean, well, I don't know. I never thought about it.
Then why get married, Rex? Why don't you just play around and have children scattered from here to yonder?
That's not what I meant, Aunt Angie. I get married because that's what the women want.
Bull. That's what you make them think you want it.
Rex, if you try to give every woman you get involved with what she wants,
you'd be out of everything in no time flat.
You know, I think I'm losing this round. You're not even trying to understand what I'm saying. Look, if the women ever do put me on ice, I'll simply find myself an old bat to marry. And just like a young woman can always find herself an old foolish man, a young man can always find himself an old foolish woman. And just like Uncle Rufus, I'm going to make sure the babe is loaded.
Oh, Rex! Connie! Connie!
What did I say? Aunt Connie, Aunt Angie.
Honey, darling, what's wrong?
Oh, Jackson.
I had to come. I was so worried you weren't answering my calls. I had to know you all right. But you know, you're not alone.
You're damned right she's not alone. Or can't you see we're here? Her family, and we're all she needs. You're not welcomed here.
He's right. So why don't you just turn around and get the hell out of here?
No.
Mother, how could you? You're shameless.
You get out of my father's house now.
Your father's dead, Ward. This is Ward Jr. This is my house now. And I say who comes and I say who goes. Everyone, this is Jackson Lee Kingston.
Holy Moses.
I simply can't believe it. Connie has always been so level-headed. To think she actually plans to marry that boy.
Oh, Ward is probably turning over in his grave.
Oh, he's not there yet. Give him time.
Good Lord, that's right. At least they could let him get cold.
He was already that, it seems, according to Connie. That was the problem.
He's so young.
Well, the children are terribly upset, and dinner was a fiasco.
Well, what could you expect with Jackson Lee's scent lingering in the air? At least he had sense enough to leave after stirring up such a mess with his self-centered self.
How does a man become so stuck on himself with such self-assurance? The women were simply mesmerized by him. Maybe he has some kind of strange powers. You know, like those cult leaders. They say they hypnotize the victims into believing all that garbage they pump into their heads.
Connie does seem to be under some kind of spell.
Well, can you imagine what this is doing to Ruby and Ward Jr.? They're completely unnerved. I'm not sure they can put up with that young man's presence in their father's house.
What is the holdup with the funeral anyway? I mean, I've been meaning to ask. Ward died a week ago.
Well, Connie's waiting for his sister to arrive. She's been ill, but her doctor has supposedly given her the okay to travel this weekend.
She's the only family he had, isn't she?
Yes.
What will she think about all of this?
She'll think it's revolting, just as we do. I'm sure. You know, I have a feeling that incident with Rufus a few years ago triggered all of this.
But women simply can't do the things that men do.
And why not, John? I suppose you're discussing Connie's situation?
Well, yes, we were.
And you were saying?
Now, Angie, what I really meant was that society just isn't ready for
women to get in on all the fun you men have been having for years?
Oh.
Well, the double standard is on its demise, gentlemen, and you might as well get used to the idea. We women are bringing down the wall.
I suppose you knew about this all along.
Yes. Connie called me before things got too serious with her young man to see how I felt about older women and younger men.
And I guess you gave her your blessing.
No. As a matter of fact, I tried to discourage her.
Well, obviously, it appears she did not take your advice. So what was the point of her asking?
I believe she had already made up her mind. And now that I've met him, I can see why. He's simply gorgeous.
And then you do condone their relationship?
Well, I don't think I could handle a similar situation because I've allowed myself to be brainwashed by you men for so long. On the other hand, I admire women who dare to defy convention and do what their hearts tell them.
Yeah, that's all well and good, Angie. Maybe she is in love with that kid, but her brain should tell her that he couldn't possibly be in love with her.
And why not, John?
Because?
Is that your answer?
Look, Angie, you know better than I do.
No, you look. He's a man, she's a woman. That's the usual combination in most love affairs.
I'm confused as to whose side you're on, Angie.
I'm a phony, Moses. I pretend I'm satisfied with what I have as a man 25 years older than I. If I had any guts, I would get rid of his old gray behind and find me a Jackson Lee.
You don't mean that.
And what makes you think I don't? He's absolutely beautiful. Certainly no comparison to my Preston. What woman, young or old, wouldn't want it if she could get it? Maybe their lives will balance out because of the age difference. Oh, my Preston has just about had it with life. There's just not much he's good for anymore.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised at you, Angie. Preston is a good man.
Of course he's a good man. What else can he be at his age? He's just about through, and I feel like as if I'm at my prime. Men give out long before women, you know.
No, we don't know. No one believes such stupidity but a select group of you misinformed women.
Is that so? Well, I happen to think that what you're saying about Connie and Jackson Lee is just as ignorant. There is nothing wrong with what they're doing.
Oh, I know you really don't mean that, Angie. You're simply trying to save face because you're both women.
I don't find that particularly necessary anymore, John. Yesterday, perhaps, but not today. There has been an awakening on the female side of the world.
But you just might be going too far.
Oh, really, Moses? Well, tell me, how far is just too far?
What Connie is doing is a prime example.
People think they're mother and son. I mean, which is what they look like. Or can't you see that?
What do all those old men palling around with young women look like, John?
No, that's not the issue here.
Well, sounds like the same thing to me.
Well, he's a fortune hunter. You must know that.
I know nothing of the kind, and neither do you.
What does he do for a living?
I have no idea.
He probably pimps off stupid rich old women. And this time, that stupid rich old woman is one of our relatives.
The word stupid and women seem to be synonymous in your vocabulary, John. If you could possibly rid yourself of the demeaning attitude toward women and begin to look at us in a more realistic sense, we just might be able to communicate.
Well, maybe the reason we can't communicate is because you women refuse to listen to the truth about yourselves.
Shall we table this discussion a bit, gentlemen? Hello, children. How was your ride?
Oh, don't let us stop your conversation.
Oh, it can wait, dear. Really, did you enjoy yourselves?
Well, the ride was wonderful. This is a gorgeous little town. I'd like to see more of it, but of course, Mr. Flip over here wasn't in the mood.
Look, I'll never forgive myself. I really hurt Aunt Connie. I mean, she has been like a mother to me, and I go and do something dumb like that?
Stop worrying about it, Rex. What you said was the truth.
And the truth hurts.
No,
Sometimes.
I was wrong. Even if what I said was the truth.
It is, believe me.
I mean, but I had no right.
You didn't know, Rex. Well, don't berate yourself. I just hope you're the one man who can learn from his mistakes.
Oh, I have. I mean, my mouth is just too big. I talk too much.
True.
I mean, sometimes I just feel like stuffing it.
I'll help you.
Linda, will you please let me reprimand myself? I mean, he's a pretty decent looking guy, I guess.
Oh, correction. The man is absolutely gorgeous. Are you jealous because he outshines you by 150%?
He doesn't upset me in the least.
Even if you are a man, I know you can see it too. The man is an Adonis among men.
Oh, yeah, women.
You, my dear sister, are such a wimp around men with pretty faces. Aunt Angie, where's Aunt Connie anyway?
Resting.
Aunt Connie is one lucky woman.
Can't you women see past your noses? That young man is after Connie's money.
Moses.
He's a kept man. It's written all over him.
Well, I see love written all over him, especially when he looks at Aunt Connie.
Let a fair-looking man walk into a room full of women and the whole place turns to mush. I'll never understand how you women seem to...
Oh, Aunt Connie! Can you ever forgive me? I am such a fool sometimes.
You know, it's all right, Rex. I understand. Most people share your thoughts. I'll just simply have to learn to cope, won't I?
You do have an alternative, Connie.
And what is that, Moses?
You could give him up.
That I will not do.
Oh, you must.
Must.
But I won't, John, and that's final. Now, where are my children?
At the funeral home. Someone called and they needed more information, so Ruby and Ward Jr. went rather than disturb you.
That was thoughtful of them.
Well, that's more than you are to them, Connie. Look, we need to talk further about what's happening here.
Yeah, perhaps we should, Moses. We might as well get this over with once and for all, since you people insist on interfering in my affairs.
Connie, you and that young man have to...
Jackson Lee is his name.
Yes, Jackson Lee. Now, Connie, surely you're not going to go through with your plans to
marry him? I have every intention on doing so, John.
Perhaps you should take an extended vacation after the funeral and think this thing through.
When I take a vacation, I'll be on my honeymoon with Jackson Lee.
My word, woman. He's young enough to be your son.
But he's not my son.
Think of the implications.
They don't bother me.
Well, they bother me.
Well, fortunately, you don't matter, John.
Well, I should. We're family. Think of your reputation.
You can always just disown me.
Don't be ridiculous.
Oh, I mean it. If living my life the way I want to live it is going to upset this family, then I'll just gladly excommunicate myself from it.
You know, I believe you would. That boy has really gotten to you, hasn't he?
Oh, he's not a boy, John. He's just as much as man as you are, maybe more.
Please, let's not get into a shouting match. Connie, there's the other issue of Ward. You're in the process of burying your husband, and this man is right in the middle of everything.
This man has been in the middle of things for some time now, Moses. Ward's death doesn't change a thing.
How can you say that?
Can't you see what this is doing to your children?
They'll get over it. They were so disrespectful yesterday. They said things for which I'm not sure that I can ever forgive them.
Oh, they're hurting, Connie. Their father is dead. And what they see is the disrespect their mother is showing by allowing her lover, if I may use such a broad term, to come to this house now at this crucial time.
John's right. If you're going to be a fool, you should at least be a discreet one.
After the way my children acted yesterday, he was concerned about me. I was discreet when it was necessary, Moses. It's not anymore. I'm not going to quit living my life simply because Ward is dead.
That is the most asinine. That kid is exploiting you. Can't you see that?
He loves me.
Oh, please. His intention is to make you believe that, Connie. Then his battle is won.
Battle? Despite what you might believe, Jackson is totally devoted to me. The children weren't even there when Ward died. So he came to be with me. Unfortunately, he was still here when they arrived. Now, what could I do but tell them the truth? I saw no point in lying to them. They were totally disgusting. We had a big fight, and Jackson knew they wouldn't be any comfort to me after that. So he
decided he would be that comfort.
Oh, I feel so safe and yes, comfortable when he's with me. He has a way about him that puts one at ease almost immediately. His presence here will be more subtle after the funeral.
And then?
And then he shall be moving in with me.
My Lord, Connie, have you lost all pride, decency?
Oh my goodness, what is pride, John? What is decency? My husband taught me that they are only mere words. He knew about Jackson.
Ward knew about your affair?
Yes, he knew. He didn't try to hide his woman from me, and I didn't try to hide my man from him. I guess we had a little silent war going on between us.
And you won that war?
He didn't love me anymore. He torn our house apart, our home, our marriage. I thought I had nothing to live for. And for a long time, I even thought about suicide.
Oh, dear God.
Did you know that, John? Did you know that, Moses? There was nothing left to live for anymore. At least that's what I thought. You all can't even imagine how little a woman feels when her husband leaves her for another woman. How it feels to trail him and his other woman, to glimpse at them as they disappear into theaters and restaurants, hotels, until finally she just stops the cat and mouse game she's been playing with herself and tries to build another life of her own. And when I met Jackson, yeah, I thought the same as you. But things began to happen that really changed my views. Yes, I won that war, Moses. I'm burying my husband Sunday. Excuse me, please.
And I hope those few words found you well, gentlemen. Connie!
Phew. I don't believe what I just heard.
Well, you better believe it, brother. And I'm not sure I want to be in this room with you gentlemen either right now, because you see, I am on Aunt Connie's side. So excuse me, please.
So, what do we do now?
Darned if I know.
I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me a few minutes of your time.
We would be lying if we said it's a pleasure, Mr. Kingston.
What are you doing back here?
Connie called me. She's most uncomfortable here in her own home because of you, gentlemen.
And you've come to throw us out.
I'm not the violent type, gentlemen. Let's just say I don't like it when anyone threatens me or mine.
You've got some nerve coming back here.
Cat's out the bag. Why pretend? My lady was happy until you folk got here and learned that she's moved on with her life. With me.
Look, you baby-faced, pimple-ridden
Uncle
little...
John. Go on, Jackson.
Some people find it hard to shed their ignorance about situations of this sort. I've had my problems during my lifetime, but getting a woman has never been one of them. Finding the right woman has been a problem. Until now. Until I met Connie. She's everything I've ever sought in a woman. Oh, she was a bit leery at first.
What method of persuasion did you use, Mr. Kingston?
The power of love, Mr. Langley.
Couldn't you have found a younger woman to use those powers on, Mr. Kingston?
Younger women bore me. Their instability, their quest for maturity, their low-keyed minds. Connie is totality. The complete woman with everything to offer a man.
Including a fat bankroll.
Oh, I don't deny that the money is nice and Connie is most generous.
Oh, I knew it. I mean, didn't I tell you? Didn't I?
Look, Jackson, you admit Aunt Connie is keeping you.
I don't consider myself to be a kept man, Rex.
Then what do you consider yourself?
An extremely lucky man. Lucky to have found a woman like Connie. Even if she didn't have a cent to her name, I would still love her.
Do you really expect us to believe that?
No, I don't. Nevertheless, it's true, gentlemen. Many young men are turning to older women nowadays. I mean, there's no comparison between the two groups of women, none whatsoever. Connie has changed my life completely.
We have no doubt about that. I mean, you're a fortune hunter, Mr. Kingston, and I guess you have succeeded in finding a foolish old woman upon whom to prey.
I don't consider Connie a foolish woman at all, not in the least.
Oh, neither did we until now.
Rex, what's your opinion about your aunt and me?
Oh, I'm still chewing my foot off from this afternoon. I passed.
Yes, Connie told me about your most untimely remark.
Untimely, maybe, but true nevertheless.
Needless to say, I don't agree with you, Mr. Braggs.
And we don't expect you to, Mr. Kingston.
By the way, what do your family members think about all this?
I have no family. My parents died in a plane crash when I was 7 years old. I was reared in an orphanage.
Oh, that's it. I mean, that explains everything. But don't you see, you're looking for a mother figure, and you found that in Connie.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Langley. I had many other mother figures at the orphanage, but I never felt about any of them the way I do about Connie.
That was a different environment, a most negative one. I mean, that the women at the orphanage had to spread themselves among so many of you. I mean, no personal, individual attention.
I'm afraid not. I've been out of the orphanage since I was 18.
And you never married?
No. And now, I'm glad I waited.
For the right woman?
That's right, Mr. Langley. And I finally found her. Having the love of a woman like Connie is more than I ever dreamed possible.
And more money in your pocket than you ever dreamed possible, right?
Maybe I have found personal wealth along with the love of my life, Mr. Braggs. I don't know. All I know is that I love Connie Dandridge with all my heart.
Your humble devotion is most touching, but I'm afraid it's wasted on us here.
Oh, now wait, Uncle Moses, Uncle John. Why isn't it possible for a younger man to love an older woman?
Rex!
I'm just being realistic here. Look, I've learned a lot today.
Look, you don't have to be saying things like that. Your Aunt Connie is angry with you, but she'll get over it. We just can't let her ruin her life by marrying this person.
It's her decision.
And mine. And as far as I'm concerned, this matter's closed.
But not as far as we're concerned.
Her children. What about them, Mr. Kingston?
They'll learn to live with it.
Oh, don't be too sure. I mean, how could they ever think of you as a father figure when you were wetting your pants at the same time that they were?
You're being ridiculous, Mr. Langley.
Oh, ridiculous is you and that senile cousin of ours.
You gigolo.
A gigolo's only interest is money, Mr. Braggs. I happen to be in love.
Oh, that's preposterous.
You have a problem, gentlemen. Don't try and make it mine or Connie's. She's been through so much. You should want her to find happiness again.
We know Ward gave her a rough time, but she should have waited it out like the millions of other women in the world.
And why should a woman have to remain faithful to a husband who is not being faithful to her? Why should the victim be expected to suffer twofold? Connie got on with her life, gentlemen, and I'm so glad I was there to help her do that. I think the game out there should be the both for both women and men.
No wonder you get along so well with women.
I do indeed, Rex, because I respect and adore them. No secret formula. You need to lighten up, gentlemen. Connie tried to wait it out, as you say, but you weren't there to see what the waiting was doing to her. I was, and it was not a pretty sight. I'd like to tell you a story. I was sitting in the lounge of the Haven Blue Hotel one Saturday night when I saw this very attractive lady come in and make her way to an unoccupied table in the corner of the room. Such sadness I had never seen on anyone's face, and on that beautiful face, it was tragic. She ordered a drink. It just sat there, untouched, except for a few tears that may have fallen into it, for 2 hours. It bothered me to see this lovely lady so distraught, in such obvious pain. I asked the bartender if he knew her. He said no, but that she had been coming in every Saturday night about the same time for a few months.
Are you telling us you picked our cousin up in a bar?
A lounge, yes. A pickup, no. We all know Connie is not that kind of woman. I knew from just looking at her that she did not belong in that place. I also knew that she needed someone with whom to talk.
Are you a psychiatrist, Mr.
No, I'm
Kingston?
not. No, I'm not. But I'm always most observant. I went over and I asked her if there was anything I could do for her. She stood and hurriedly left the lounge. She was my every thought for the next week. I went back to that lounge the next Saturday night. There she was. I went over there and sat at her table. When she tried to leave again, I took her hands in mine and just held them until the trembling stopped. She began to cry and finally started to talk. The night, we made a date for the next Saturday night. We continued this routine for the next 3 weeks. She gradually told me a story, and that her husband and his girlfriend spent their weekends in one of the suites at that hotel. She said that was as close as she can get to him on the weekends.
My God. Where might she be now
If I had not come along, I'm so glad I did. Because you see, gentlemen, during those hours we spent together, we fell in love. And we are going to be married. And I suggest you get acquainted with the idea.
Just a minute, Mr. Kingston. How does it feel cohabitating with a woman old enough to be your mother?
Good, Mr. Langley. Really good.
What will it take to bring this family back together again? Will the children and Connie's brothers finally accept Jackson Lee? Keep watching for the dramatic conclusion in Act 2. The Dumas-Stenson players enjoy bringing you theater that is thought-provoking and with a message. To support this and future productions, donations are kindly accepted and appreciated via Cash App at $CrystalN5, Venmo at Crystal-Nix-2, or you can mail your donations by check or money order to Mildred Dumas, 829 West Palmdale Boulevard, Suite 159, Palmdale, California, 93551. Now, enjoy Act 2 of Connie.
Okay, Ward, Ruby, here we are. What is on your minds?
And why all the secrecy?
We want this to remain just among the four of us.
We must stop Mother from marrying that man.
Oh, no, you can count me out. I don't want no parts of this.
Rex, please, just listen.
And just how do you plan to stop her?
Whatever you have in your mind, I don't even want to hear it.
Rex, come back.
Look, I have no problem with Aunt Connie and her new man.
If you just listen to what we have to say.
Okay, shoot.
We must prove that Jackson is a fortune hunter. He wants money, and he would marry if need be to acquire it.
This is what's happening with our mother and that young punk.
I don't happen to believe that. Why don't you just give the man a chance?
We know all we need to know about him, Rex. It's as plain as night and day.
Explain that, please.
Look at them.
I have, and I see two people who are very much in love.
You're crazy. I thought we could expect a more sensible attitude out of you.
How could you condone what they're doing?
I've seen how Aunt Connie's face is. It lights up when she looks at that man.
And I'm with Rex. I think Aunt Connie is one lucky woman.
So, you think he's a good catch, Linda?
Well, yes, I do. I mean, any woman would.
Then how would you like to have him?
What?
Linda, we want you to take Mother's boyfriend away from her.
What?
We decided that's the only way we can prove to Mother that
She won't do it.
No, I won't. You both are insane.
Insane isn't even the word for it. You would actually exploit Linda in some foolish scheme. You're trying to ruin your mother's life?
We're trying to keep her from ruining her life.
It's her life, and she can live it any way she pleases.
It's our lives too. We'll have to live with this as well as she.
Well, you're both grown with your own lives to live. How could you even think of doing such a underhanded thing to your own mother?
How could she do what she's doing to us, her children?
We're trying to prove that to her that her dashing lover boy is not what he appears to be.
And you plan to use me for bait?
No way.
We're doing this for our mother's own good. Can't you understand that? That man has her so confused, she's taken leave of her senses.
She seems of sound mind to me.
We're questioning that too. Look, Linda, you don't have to have an actual affair with him. We just want you to put him in a compromising position for Mother to see.
You have enough money to entice him, and if he thinks he can have money and a younger woman too, he'd forget all about Mother.
And how do you think I'd feel doing something like that to my own aunt, whom I happen to love?
At least Mother would know the truth.
And suppose you're wrong. I mean, suppose he really does love her and wouldn't trade her for any amount of money. You should let him tell you how they met. I don't believe you really heard a word they've been saying.
I don't believe you heard a word we've been saying. He'd take everything she has and then leave her. It happens every day to irresponsible older women.
Aunt Connie does not fit in that category. You're both upset because your father died. Give yourselves time to get used to the idea and to the fact that your mother has another man in her life.
Never! You're not trying to understand. It's all such a mess. Father is lying there in that cold place, waiting for her to bury him, and she's carrying on with another man.
Well, she can't pretend that Jackson Lee doesn't exist.
At least she could have waited. What decent woman would bring another man into her dead husband's house before she even buries him?
He says he's trying to protect her.
From whom? Us? Her children?
Yes, you and Uncle John and Uncle Moses. You're all degrading her and questioning her about choices in her own life.
Somebody has to make us stop.
He's putting up a good front, but he doesn't love her. He couldn't.
And why not?
Because.
But Aunt Connie is a beautiful, intelligent woman.
Oh, she's beautiful, all right. The skinny little freaking.
Look, let's try to discuss this as rationally as possible, shall we? Look, we're first cousins, and we've been friends all of our lives. We can't let it, even as delicate a situation as this, ruin our relationship. Tell me, Ruby, Ward, how would you feel if the situation were reversed? If Aunt Connie had died and Uncle Ward was still involved with this younger woman?
That is not the issue here.
But it could be. How would you feel?
Are you trying to insinuate that this is a male versus female situation, Rex?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Ward. How would you feel if the situation were reversed?
Father would have more respect.
Well, it seems your father lost respect for your mother a long time ago.
And he began having an affair with another woman. And eventually Aunt Connie found herself another man. That sounds fair to me.
Ooh, Rex, we can certainly see whose side you're on.
It is not a matter of sides, Ward. Your father had a younger woman and your mother had a younger man. What is the difference?
Ward, we have a job to do, and we don't have much time. Our mother is planning a very short period of mourning for our father. We need your help, Linda. How would you feel if what we predict happens and you could help prevent it?
Well, I'd feel even worse if I helped to destroy Aunt Connie's chance at happiness. I can't do it.
Can't or won't? Well, if you won't, I will.
You wouldn't.
Oh, yes, I would. What difference does it make? You, me, anybody who can buy him. We're going to stop her, and I don't care how we do it.
That is your mother you're talking about. Try to remember that.
How could I forget? She has no right to him. He's young enough to be her son, young enough for me. Look at what I've got, what I'm married to, and it's all her fault.
Ruby. Why, you're jealous. You're actually jealous of your own mother?
That's not so. That's ridiculous. How dare you?
Of course it's ridiculous. But I don't think you should do it, sis. He's a con artist and you're married. He'd see through you right away.
But Linda refuses to help.
If she won't help us, then we'll have no choice but to...
She leaves us no choice. Ward, we have to do it.
And what devious thing are you plotting now?
Either you help us prove that Jackson Lee is a fraud, or we're going to have mother committed.
You're what?
My God, you've both lost your minds.
No, we haven't. But we believe she has.
I can't believe the two of you would resort to something as cruel as this. Because your mother is in love with a younger man, you think she's crazy? Or you rather plan to issue her an ultimatum? Either give up the man she loves or you're going to have her locked up like some common criminal? I think pride and convention have made complete fools of the both of you.
That's your opinion. We say we're doing the right thing.
And how can you say what's right for Aunt Connie? Simply because you don't approve of what she's doing does not make it wrong.
It's wrong, and she's going to give him up or else.
Why? Because you can't have him?
You shut up.
My God, Ruby. You two are out of your minds. I will not let you do this.
How do you propose to stop us?
You have no right to interfere.
You gave us that right when you tried to bring us into your old sordid scheme.
Well, we don't need you now. She's crazy, and we're going to put her in the nut house.
You're the ones who are crazy, and there's no way we're going to stand by and let you do this to your mother.
Try and stop us. You just try. We're her children, and we'll do with her what we please. The slut.
Now you listen to me. That is your mother you're talking about, not a thing.
Don't you ever touch me again.
Well, you started it, and if you need some sense knocked into you, I'll be glad to do it.
And Ward, if you succeed in having Aunt Connie declared insane, I'm going to personally beat you with an inch of your life.
You threatening me about my own mother?
That is a threat, and you better believe it.
Come on, sis.
Oh, okay. Tell us. Which one of you is going to tell your mother what you're planning for, huh? Which one of you have the guts? I don't believe either one of you is man or woman enough. You cowards, both of you. I never thought I'd see the day.
Rex, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Family. We're some mixed up folks. Don't you know that?
Well, Mother, I see you're the first one to get dressed for this event. You can't wait to put him 6 feet under, can you?
Ruby, please don't start that again.
Start, Mother? You and your young lover started this. But believe me, I will have a hand in ending it. You'll get rid of him or else.
Don't threaten me, Ruby. I don't appreciate it.
We've gone past the point of appreciation for each other, don't you think? You're a hypocrite, Mother, the worst kind.
Ruby, please forgive me. What else can I say?
Not a damn thing.
Oh, Ruby, just please try to understand.
Are you sure you two didn't kill him, Mother? To get him out of the way? He was in your way, wasn't he, Mother?
Ruby! Oh my God, my God.
Aunt Connie, are you all right? I mean, I saw Ruby in the hallway and you know how I get.
Yes, dear. I'm just.
Can I get you something? Some coffee, a glass of water?
No, dear. I'm fine. Just don't even worry about me.
But I do worry about you. Aunt Connie, I don't know how to tell you this, but well, Ruby and Ward aren't thinking too loosely right now with Uncle Ward dying and
and Jackson Lee and me. You know, that's the real problem.
Oh, Connie dear, you look awful. Oh, the day of the funeral is always the worst. I'm just so glad that we're here to see you through this. It's just unfortunate that Ward's sister wasn't able to come.
Well, she isn't as well as her doctor thought, but I just simply couldn't delay the funeral any longer.
Of course not.
I've detained all of you much longer than I anticipated anyway.
Well, it's all right, Aunt Connie, really. We don't mind.
Since Aunt Maggie couldn't come, I wish some of us could stay with you longer.
It's a good thing she didn't come, you know.
For her brother's funeral? No, John, we don't know.
It would have been quite a shock for her to see what's going on in her brother's house.
How dare you blame me for something you know nothing about, Moses? But since you seem to delight in flinging my present situation at me every chance you get, I've got a few things I'd like to say to you and to John.
Please, dear, please, you're getting upset.
John, do you really think the affair you began with your Mrs. Watkins years ago is a secret?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you know. I believe everyone knows except your wife. And maybe it's about time someone told her.
Well,
you better watch yourself, Connie.
And you, Moses, you, when your wife was carrying your last child, you were seen on several occasions leaving that whorehouse on Bank Street. And through reliable resources, I learned that Mary Lou down at Joe's bar, that wasn't just a rumor.
How dare you?
Uncle John? Uncle Moses?
How dare me? How dare you interfere in my life? A couple of old playboy chauvinists. And if Ward's sister had come to the funeral, there's not much she could say about me when she literally drove her preacher husband insane. Drove him insane trying to keep her out of the arms of his deacons and trustees.
Good grief. Is all that really true?
Of course not.
Every bit of it.
Oh, well, I never heard a thing.
We don't hear anything. They think we're still children.
Are you trying to make us part of your disgrace, Connie?
Are you all right, Uncle Moses? It's really not that hot in here.
That's what you think.
Oh, yeah, you can give it, but you can't take it, right? Now you know how I feel. What does the Bible say, Moses? Those of you without sin, cast the first stone.
That's right.
If it wasn't for Ward, I'd leave right now.
You know what? If that's your reason for staying, then leave.
Now
Ward will never know the difference.
Look, I know the three of you are upset. John, Moses, we're here to pay our respects to Cousin Ward. I think that you should both be man enough to do just that.
She has asked us to leave.
I'll be happy to oblige her and never set foot in this house again.
And I thought you two were so square. So let me shake your hand. Congratulations.
Rex, I am trying to bring some order to this situation.
Oh, I'm sorry, Aunt Angie, but this is most interesting. I mean, truly exciting.
Oh, you would think so with your perverted mind.
I'm just shocked. I mean, they certainly fooled me.
All right, children, that's enough. Now, we're here for Ward's funeral. If we must entertain ourselves with conversations until the undertaker comes for us, I would like to suggest that we find a subject that is most agreeable to everyone.
And what in the world would that be? I mean, there's no such thing.
We shall try to think of something, Rex.
Yes, ma'am.
And John and Moses, I had no intention of offending you in my home, but one can only take so much. Now, where are my children? The family car is going to be here shortly.
I'm afraid they went on ahead, Aunt Connie. They said they would meet us at the funeral home.
What?
Are you sure, Rex? Maybe they're still upstairs. I'll go see.
They're gone, Aunt Angie. They took a taxi.
Oh, my own children don't want to attend their father's funeral with me.
Oh dear. They're just angry now. Everything will be all right. You'll see.
Yeah, it will be, Aunt Connie. I'm going to see to it.
They're here for us, dear. Come.
Let's get this funeral over with so we can get the hell out of here.
Uncle John, Uncle Moses, I want to know one last thing.
What is
What?
it?
Which one of you had Mary Lou the barmaid?
Boy!
What you're saying is you're going back on your word, right?
I've just decided this whole thing is wrong, Ruby. How could we have ever entertained the idea?
So they got to you, huh?
I talked with Rex, yes, but I reached this conclusion myself.
I'll just bet you did.
I can't do it, Ruby. She's our mother.
Have you forgotten what she's doing to us?
It's her life, and we need to stay out of it.
You're sickening. Do you know that? I should have known you didn't have the guts. If you won't help me, I'll do it without you.
Forget it, Ruby.
I'll get even with her if it's the last thing I do.
You're taking this too far. You're taking it personally.
You're darn right I am. She's going to pay. You just wait and see.
Look, sis, I know you're not happy with your situation, but it's not fair taking it out on Mother.
What do you know about what's fair? All these years I've respected her, hung on to her every word, patterned my life the way she told me, the way she thought I should. It didn't matter what I wanted. I didn't dare defy convention. And now look at her. So don't you dare tell me about what's fair.
Look, Ruby.
No, you look. You're reneging on a promise. Our mother is incompetent. She needs help. And you're letting your sentimentality get in the way of your duty.
Not incompetent, and we both know that.
I know you have allowed yourself to be brainwashed by Rex and Linda. They don't have to live with this. We do.
Ruby, this is serious. We're talking about taking our mother's life away from her. I won't do it, and I won't let you.
You coward! You filthy lying coward!
Forget it, sis. You have no fight. Face reality. She's as sane as either of us.
That's not true. She has completely lost her head over that.
It doesn't mean she's insane.
We're trying to save her from disgrace. Don't you understand? He'll rob her blind and then leave her to suffer. Is that what you want?
That would be better than having her locked up for life.
Is it? Alone? Brokenhearted? Destitute? I won't be there for her, Ward. Will you?
Swears that he loves her.
And you believe him? Of course he says he loves her. What else would he say? That he's out to rob her? Give him more credit than that. He's not the fool here.
Forget it, Ruby.
I will not forget it, Ward. I might have to delay things, but I won't forget it. I'll show you, I'll show everybody just how much he loves her.
What in the world? I guess you two had your talk.
Yeah, and she's more determined now than ever. I've never seen her like this. I don't know what to do, Rex.
There is nothing you can do. This is a problem she'll have to work out for herself.
I just hope I made the right decision.
Yeah, of course you did. There's no way you could have lived with yourself knowing you had a hand in your mother declared incompetent when she's as lucid as the rest of us here.
I know, but I feel responsible because I helped start that nonsense in the first place.
You are not responsible for anyone's actions but your own, Ward.
What a mess that would have been.
Yeah. Well, what is she planning now that you won't be a part of her original scheme?
I don't know. And that's worrying me.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about it. I mean, it'll pass. She'll be back home with her family soon, and I'm sure your mother's life will be the furthest thing away from her mind.
I don't know, Rex.
Just give it time.
Somehow I don't think she's going to give up on this too easily. What are our lives turning into, Rex? I don't see much of a future for this family. We were once so close, and now we all seem to be going in different directions. Everybody doing his or her own thing with no regard to family, as if we were all living in our own little worlds.
Yeah, things change. They happen, sometimes not for the best of all concerned. Things we sometimes can't even begin to explain. You're going to have to put all this out of your mind, Ward, and continue to live your life the best way you know how. Satisfy yourself first. Others, including family, come next in that order. That's most important to you. You're the key figure in your life, man. Remember that.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Oh, well, hello, Jackson Lee.
Just in time as usual. We're all about ready to leave, and Mother really shouldn't be alone.
But that's why I'm here. See that she'll never be alone again as long as I shall live.
May that be for many years, Jackson Lee.
Thank you, Ward. This is the way that I hope that we will part.
What can I say? Mother loves you. I can at least make an effort to like you.
I understand. I hope someday we should be friends.
We shall see.
You are getting a grand lady, Jackson Lee. Don't you ever forget that.
I won't, Rex.
And don't you ever cross her, man.
Yes, I heard what happened here yesterday, but I don't think I have anything to worry about. Your uncles were asking for it. I have no deep, dark secrets. Connie knows all about me. I've been perfectly open and honest.
That's very nice. And you keep it that way.
I intend to do just that.
I insist on being in the wedding party.
And I guess it's my duty to give the bride away.
You bet it is. Thanks, both of you. I love the way that my impending wedding is shaping up.
Oh, the car will be here for us shortly. I need to finish packing. Be careful, Jackson. Good luck.
Thank you. I'll keep in touch.
Take care of my mother.
I shall. Believe me.
I'm not quite prepared to leave myself. I'll send Mother down. Or are you in the habit of just going on up?
I'll wait down here for her.
See you.
Goodbye, Ward.
I love him. I've never known the joys of love like this before. Oh, I know he's young enough to be a product of my womb, and I think about that sometimes. Then again, I don't think. I simply just give in to my feelings because they don't stop. They just grow and they just grow. The more I have of him, the more I want him. He's like a stimulant. How can I give him up? Why should I give him up simply because others don't approve? Because society says I shouldn't have him? I want the love and respect of my children too. But can't I have that and the man I love? What shall I do? What shall I do?
Look at you, Connie. You're getting old, and soon will be old, wrinkled, and gray. You'll be dead in 25 years, and those years shall have been his investment. If he doesn't tire of you and leave sooner. I'd wager on the latter. After absconding with a sizable amount of your and Ward's money, he shall marry again, a younger woman, of course, and they shall live an opulent, leisurely life. And you, cold and rotting in the ground, shall be paying for it all. Goodbye, Connie. You still have time to come to your senses.
There's no fool like an old fool, someone once said. And I'm sorry to say that applies in this situation. You will be giving up everything that has ever been important to you, especially your children. Is he worth that, Connie? That boy with whom you are shaming yourself and your family? Think about it. Think about what you will do when he shall have cleaned out your bank account and left you all alone with only your memories. That's all you will have of him in a few years, just bad memories. If he is indeed fascinated with you, it shall last only as long as your money. They shall both suffer a decline, a demise even, at the same time. In a few years, I'm sure I'll be able to say, I told you so, but I'm not going to do that. Despite the degrading episode you put John and me through earlier. So, when that gigolo of yours shall have left you, and you need a shoulder on which to cry, let me know. Goodbye, Connie.
It's all right, Connie. If it's right for them, it's right for us. Just keep remembering that. Every time you hear a criticism, and especially one from the male species, you remember that. Oh, love him. Love him like he's never been loved before by any woman, young or old. And give him what only a woman who has been brewed and cultivated can give. Don't allow him time to think about any other woman. Opportunity knocks so seldom. This is yours for happiness. Take it. You have at your fingertips what most women wait for a lifetime, and it still never comes. If it ends tomorrow, you will have the rest of your life to remember the one day in your life that you lived life to its fullest. You can look back on it and say, that day, my cup runneth over. Oh, it's your life, dear. Live it.
You are something, lady. Any man in his right mind will consider himself lucky to have the love of a woman like you. See, I've been in love with you all my life. I remember when I was a little boy and I would get hurt or fall my feelings or whatever. I don't think anyone else could make it right but you. I walked 5 blocks from our house to yours every day I possibly could to see you, to tell you of my day's activities, to see if you approved. I guess you got tired of me coming around so much, but I had to see my Aunt Connie, my favorite person in the whole world, before the end of each day, or my day just wouldn't have been complete. You were beautiful then, you're beautiful now, inside and out. Such beauty could not be for our eyes only, my eyes only. Other men had to see it too, in a different way, of course. Jackson Lee does. Believe him when he says he loves you. Believe it with all your heart. I'm going to be one of his groomsmen at your wedding. Live your life, gorgeous, and remember, if you ever need me, you can believe I'll be coming running, okay? I'll see you at your wedding.
Oh, he is the most gorgeous creature I've ever laid my eyes on. Connie, he is every woman's dream. And dreaming is about all most of us can do. But you found that one in a million. Don't let him get away. I'm sure there were many women just vying for his affection, and you're the lucky woman that won them. So you take all that he has to offer. Aunt Connie, hold on to that. I mean, he has to be worth every effort, every ounce of energy that you spent. I wish you well. Goodbye, and just enjoy your life. And I'll see you at the wedding. I love you, Aunt Connie.
Mother, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I finally realized we were the ones with the problem, not you. I know we have no right to try to tell you how to live your life. That's an individual decision. I love you. And I don't want to see you hurt. And I thought I had to protect you, but your judgment has always been sound. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time accepting this. I promise to work on my problem. I'll give it my best shot. I hope your life will be all you want it to be. See you at the wedding when I give you away. Take good care of yourself. I love you.
I hate you, Mother. How dare you do this? You don't need a man like that while I'm stuck with Harvey. He was your choice, not mine. Your friend's son. A good, clean, wholesome American boy, you said. Good husband material. He would provide for me. Be a good father to my children. And status. That was the all-important thing, remember? I should not marry outside my social realm. Well, I listened to you, Mother. I married the man you wanted me to marry. And he is all the things you predicted, except for one thing you didn't think about when you chose my husband. I did not love him. I still don't love him. And now look at you. Where is your good sense, Mother? Your values? Where are they now? Were they exonerated by the magic of his touch? You say you're sorry, that you were wrong because saying anything to the contrary would mean giving up your young, handsome, virile, but not socially acceptable lover. While you lie blissfully in his arms, savoring the ecstatic sweetness that drips from his every member. I must be content with Harvey. Well, I'm not content, Mother. I shall never be. You will pay for this. I will make you pay if it's the last thing I do. Someday, Somehow, I'm going to have my revenge. I hate you, Mother. I hate you.
I love you, Connie Dandridge. Yes, I'm much younger than you. But that doesn't make me any less of a man. A man who adores you for what you are, for what you and only you make me feel. Your smile just melts my soul. The fluttering of my heart when you touch me. Your response when I touch you tells me that we belong together. You're mine and I'm yours. You could search the world over for that older man, but you will never find anyone who would love you the way I do. My love knows no bounds. My love knows no age. What is age? A 3-letter word to me that has no meaning as far as we're concerned. Your body has not yielded to this thing called age. I see a beautiful woman. I feel a body that's soft, wanting, and desirable. I see the woman I love. The woman I want to give my love to for the rest of my life. Come, my darling. Let me hold you. Let me rid your mind of all the befuddlement that now clouds it. Here I am. And I'm yours.
We trust that you have enjoyed the play, Connie. As a friendly reminder, our theater group only exists because of your kind free will donations. Please support the Dumas-Stenson players via Cash App at $CrystalN5, Venmo at Crystal-Nix-2, or you can mail your donations by check or money order to Mildred Dumas, 829 West Palmdale Boulevard, Suite 159, Palmdale, California, 93551. No donation is too small, and we thank you, one and all. Enjoy your evening, and again, thank you for attending this production of Connie.
I was walking down the street one day, feeling lost and all alone.
Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Nyman and welcome back to The Main for another edition of The Maincast. This week, we are interviewing the cast and crew of the play called Connie. Connie is this younger man simply after Connie's money, or does he really love her? This play is presented by the Dumas-Stenson Thespians, written by Mildred Dumas, a veteran playwright, directed by Naomi Stenson. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you join us this Friday at 7 p.m. on July 9th for the premiere of Connie on the city's YouTube page and the Main's Facebook page. And of course, you can watch the Maincast every Tuesday at 7 p.m. This week is Connie. Next week, you can join us for the Zombie Apocalypse maincast. So keep joining us and keep coming back to the Main for more and more events. You can follow us at facebook.com/the Main Newhall for any information on any of the events here at the Main. Now that I've gotten all the introductions out of the way, I would like to personally invite the cast and crew of Connie to please turn on their cameras and join me for the main cast. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you. Hi. Thank you all.
Steven.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much all for being here. I love this. I love the Dumas-Stenson Thespians. I've worked with them a couple times. This is exciting because I've worked with them in Zoom. I've worked with them off of Zoom. So it just keeps kind of flowing through. And here at the Main, we love our family. We love having people back. So I'm going to start with a very easy introduction. Could you all please introduce yourselves, what role you are for the play, and tell us something exciting about the play. Give us a little sneak peek into the world of the play without giving anything away, as Mildred had asked. So we'll go in order. We'll go Tony, Naomi, Crystal, then Mildred will finish us off. So if y'all could introduce yourself, what role you are, and something exciting about the play, something that you're excited for.
Okay. I'm Tony Griffith, and I'm always excited to be a part of the Mildred's productions because she is a super excellent writer, first of all. And Naomi and Crystal are great directors and assistant directors. So it's a thrill just to do this. Zoom is a little challenging for me, but working with them has made it a little easier. But I play the part of Connie Dandridge, and I'm 50 plus years young, attractive, well kept, a woman of means, some would say well-to-do, sophisticated and smart. And I'm not bragging or boasting. I'm just telling you some facts here. And I love the finer things in life, but I'm caring and loving, and I'm a great parent, but my children are very angry with me because in a sea of kings, I've found a Prince Charming. And their dad is deceased. So they're, just, they don't understand that I still need to have a life because I'm all those things I told you that I was early on. The thing that I really like about this character is, even though the people in her family, I have to say this, the men are chauvinist. And my sister Angie understands me. She's the only one that really, really understands me. And she's really basically the love of my life in the family, so to speak. And Connie is torn because her children are so angry, and they're adult children with relationships of their own, but they don't want me to venture out and have another relationship, even though their dad was a cheater.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure that backstory will come very helpful for the people watching the play on Friday.
Great.
Naomi, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Naomi Stenson. I'm directing the play. And yes, Zoom is challenging because, to say the least, but what I get a thrill out of, because this will be my third play I've directed on Zoom that we've all done on Zoom together, is the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And when we see the end result and the editing, we have a fantastic editor, and the things that he brings to it, his ideas that he brings to it, it finishes off the show. So that's what I'm excited about. And I've directed comedy for years, and I've did a few serious plays and musicals, but this is what do we call dramedy?
Dramedy. Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. It's fun, and it's really serious. It goes from one stream to the other.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it because we get to show all types of emotions in one play.
True.
All type of emotions. So I feel that everybody's going to enjoy it. We're going to show it on June the 11th at 7 p.m. And I just know it's going to be great. And I enjoy the people that we're working with. We have two new characters. The first time we've worked with them. One I knew, I've seen his work, but they're excellent. And I just want to say thank you to them for joining our crew.
Most definitely. Crystal, go ahead.
All right. Such a pleasure to be with you again, Stephen. I enjoy working with the Main Theater, all of our productions, whether they're live on stage or in this new normal we've had to adjust to with doing plays on Zoom. And I've done several since the pandemic, and definitely all three with the company that we're with now with the Dumas-Stenson players. And it's always a delight because I get to work both sides of the fence, you know, kind of like I think you do a little bit of that as well. So I actually portray the character of Angie. I'm actually Connie's grounding. And even though there are some choices that I may not have made, I support my sister 100%. I'm all about trying to maintain some family dignity and harmony and unity, even though things are just going way left. And I'm not going to say how far left it goes. So I'll leave that for everyone to tune in to see how way left it goes. But it's just a delight because her character is just like Connie. The family is a well-to-do family. They're all about status and position and how you look to the public. And those things come into play. So with what's unfolding in Connie's life, it's like, this is going to affect our standing. We might get some backlash behind some things that are being revealed. And how do we conquer that, you know, and maintain who we are in the public eye and who we even think we are to ourselves sometimes, that mask that we wear. And some of those masks will come off. So that's another hint why you need to tune in, because there are so many layers, because Mildred always writes so excellently. There are so many layers that you can discover and so many layers that you can develop in your character. So it really makes all of her work just such a delight to be a part of and a privilege to be a part of. So I thoroughly enjoy that. And one of the things that people will discover when they come is that there are certain social themes that we thought should be long gone that are still prevalent today. So I don't know if we're going to have a discussion afterwards, but you'll see some of those things pop up and you go, oh my God, that's still going on today, you know, and she'll talk about when she wrote the play and everything like that. So I won't go into detail on that. But the other hat that I wear is also the production stage manager. And so in that light, I get to work on the other side of the fence, and I work arm in arm with our editor, Jermaine Alexander. Give a shout out to him. And so we make sure that everything is correct in terms of the taping and the sound and the editing and just the music, just try to present something that is of quality that zooms you in, because even though it is filmed on Zoom, you get the feeling that you're watching a movie unfold and you find yourself going like this as it goes on. No, they didn't do that. What? And you're drawn into the Zoom and you're thinking you're watching a movie, but it's still on Zoom. So it's been a very growing, developing, learning, challenging, fun experience that's still going to be part of our lives, even when the pandemic that appears to be lifting has lifted and we're back in the live theater. This is still a new component that's going to be used to a great degree. So I'm happy to be a part of both sides.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes.
It's interesting to how we keep pushing the envelope further. And I think as we open theater, like the audiences that we've had that followed us in virtual, we're hoping that they come back to the live as well. Because now I'm sure they're as tired or as tired fatigued of Zoom fatigued of Zoom plays as much as we are. But I think there's this incredible opportunity then to challenge the audience's misconception about online plays, to do something new, to do something challenging, do something they don't expect, so that you give them something to bite while they're waiting to come back to live theater as well.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Mildred, please introduce yourself and all the information.
All right. I am Mildred Dumas, the playwright. And I just love these ladies, and I thank them for all the love and the good things they've said about me. But sometimes they call me old-fashioned, Stephen. And I guess I am old-fashioned because I'm an old person, okay? And sometimes they have to ask me, well, what does this mean? So I have to do some explaining in some of the plays, but some of the older people, they will understand. And I'm trying to get, a lot of my friends to come, and they will know what's going on, and then they can explain it to the younger members of their families who might be looking, okay? So I did write this play 38 years ago, but it's still relevant today, as some of the characters have said. I wrote a play called Uncle Rufus 40-some years ago. I had 11 characters in that play. They just kept coming, Stephen. So I do write plays with a lot of characters, and people tell me you have to cut it down. I'm trying, but sometimes look at the director. But sometimes characters will just pop in my head and say, I want to be in this play. And I say, no, I got enough put me in the play. So I have to do what they say, okay? And people don't believe that, but they do kind of talk to you, the characters. So in Uncle Rufus, he went kind of viral, and it played in theaters all over the country, and it did pretty well. So I said, well, since Rufus was so popular, I'm going to write a play for every character in the play. Well, I tried. I got about 5 of them, and Connie was one of them. So this is a spinoff from Uncle Rufus 40-some years ago. And I enjoyed writing this because it's kind of play female against male, and I kind of like that kind of stuff. But my girls are holding their own in this play. And as for Connie, she made a few mistakes in her past and embraced some old traditions that she shouldn't have done. And that's what we're dealing with in this play. And we do hope the people will enjoy it and that they'll want more and more from us. We're sorry you're leaving. Yes. But we want to get back to the main on the real stage. We hope that can be soon. And we do have one coming up next year. I don't know whether you wanted us to announce that. Coming up on the stage at the main next year. And this is one that I wrote back in the early 90s, and we received 7 NAACP Theater Awards for that one. It's called When the Past Comes Back.
Yay!
Okay. Yeah, so we can't wait to get on the real stage for that one. But thank you so much for having us today, and we hope this will draw people in to see what we're all about, what this 38-year-old play is talking about. Thanks, Steve.
I think it's interesting that you wrote this play 38 years ago and talking about history. We would just, I think, what was it, like maybe 9 weeks ago, maybe 10. More like 11. We just watched Uncle Rufus's Christmas at Uncle Rufus's house. And we were
just another spinoff.
Yeah,
that was another spinoff.
We were just in the world of Uncle Rufus. And obviously, you said that there are characters in the original Uncle Rufus that you just keep writing plays for, and kind of you've made your own cycle of characterization. Talking about the history of this play, what from the 38 years, what from like 38 years ago that has been kind of really, really important to the play is important today? So how can we within that within the theme of the current zeitgeist? So what of that 38 years ago is like really, really important for today for people like my generation to understand?
Well, people are still doing some of the things that they did 38 years ago. And so the play doesn't have anything really new in it. I just got a twist to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you speak on some of those things? Or can we get a little sneak peek?
Relationships, man-woman relationships. Okay. And some of them are traditional and some are not so traditional. Anybody else? Oh, come on, director. What can you say about it?
Children letting their parents be human, have human experiences is another theme. When the dynamics of the family change, sometimes, there's an opportunity for everyone to grow. And, that's a timeless discussion that you can have, because could allow yourself to get in a time warp and time stand still because the family had a dynamic shift, or you can allow everyone to grow and to flourish and still have the best life. Having their best life is actually part of our today lingo. I'm living my best life. Well, let your parents live their best life too. So that's a theme that comes across as well. And then the layers that still exist about a man's perspective and a man's world versus a woman's world. You know, what is that like today? And we're still fighting for women's rights and things like that. So you see those timeless themes come up as well. So yeah.
And we find out that in the family, a tradition has been broken.
Yeah.
How angry the people get because a tradition has been broken from generation to generation, which is for the good, really, is for the good.
Well, that's really.
And I want to just say that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to say just a natural reaction for young children, and from my perspective, is for them to probably have an issue when a parent wants to move on. But these are grown adult children. So like everyone was saying, things go completely left. And it's really kind of hard as the parent who still has a life to deal with those dynamics in the family, because I love my children and I don't want to lose them, but life goes on. So
I think it's interesting. We just talked about tradition and this idea, you know, of masculine and feminine relationships and how they kind of deal with each other. And, you know, this idea of, it's kind of what we've been dealing with, at least for the past 8 years, politically, as well as socially. And it's a very, like, the tradition of, you know, this is this person's job because this is the tradition that has been set, not what we want. No, but this is just the tradition that is set, you know. Not to get too political, you know, like the president of the United States being able to do certain things because of tradition, not because of the law. So this idea of like how tradition in plays or in art or in media kind of like get you to think of how tradition works in other sections of the world.
Yeah.
Moving on, but like kind of sticking within the same realm, within the concept. Naomi and Mildred, we were talking earlier in the process about the music for the show. I'd like to hear a little bit about the music. Like, what was the inspiration behind adding the music into Connie? What was the challenges that might have arisen adding the music to Connie? Or what were some of the triumphs in adding music to Connie, or just some of the triumphs in general of Connie itself?
Well, we know these people who are artists, you know, are singers. And one we've known for a long time, oh, this man can sing. So he had begun doing originals. So we got in touch with him and got some songs from him. And then one of our friends, and she sang with us at the Main one time. We did a Christmas show there. And she's very, very popular and very good. So we got one of her songs in. And then Naomi, go ahead and tell us.
My brother-in-law, Eddie Gale, is a renowned jazz artist, and he just passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But his music is, my sister, I asked her if we can use, you know, some of his music. So we're going to be using his music. And Eddie is renowned up in the Berkeley area. He taught jazz to students. He was Mr. Ambassador in San Jose. And he's known all over Europe. People in Europe love his music. And so I feel honored to be able to play some of his music in the play.
Yeah, he's the horn, Stephen. Listen for that horn. It is so beautiful. Yeah.
So before he passed away, we would talk about me directing a play about his life. And we didn't get that far, but we did talk about it. And it was going to be all in music and dance. So hopefully I can get with my sister and we can sit down and write it and
yeah, let's do it.
what I love right now, and I feel like there's a very family orientation to your company. Especially like it feels like you're very family oriented within
True.
the plays you choose to do, the situations that you choose to enact, the people you choose to work with. It feels like they're all very family oriented. What has been kind of the inspiration or the backbone of the Mildred Stenson company that has encouraged you to like maintain family connections, this family ideal of maintaining a strong relationship of telling these stories? Anybody can take that question.
Well, some of these ladies have, well, all these ladies have been with me so many years I can't count them. And so we've kind of like grown together. As sometimes I have to threaten to pull out my switch, you know. But we get along quite well. And see that baby over there in the yellow? I had to threaten to pull out my switch for her a lot. Okay, but we just love each other. We love doing what we do. And Naomi is such a great director. She comes from the Paul Robeson players, one of her backgrounds, and they were doing my plays before I even moved out here from Colorado. I was in Colorado and they were doing my plays, and they did such a good job. I just had to move out here and get really, really involved. So we've been together a long time. It's just a long story. Okay.
Right. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Naomi. Go ahead.
As far as Mildred's writing about family situations, it's really good because she said she started writing as a child and her family would participate. And so at picnics and family reunions and the whole bit, all the family would come around, you know, and they're eating the whole bit, but they were looking for that play. So her writing does dwell a lot on family and situations. She wrote a play, Looking for a Man, and it was 5 or 6 women that, all women, and it was about stories about their life and that they had relationships with men. And it was excellent. It was excellent. I got a chance to be in it and be the assistant director and stage manager of that. And then she's written My Brother's Blood. It is dealing with back then when we had a lot of gang problems. She's written that. And then, so all of her plays is dealing with relationships, really strong relationship, family and or friends relationships.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And I was just going to comment that in any situation in life, when you find a formula that works, or when you find a team that works, you just don't reinvent the wheel. You know, I've been with Mildred so many years. The play that's coming up When the Past Comes Back, shameless plug, again, at the Main next year. That character that I portrayed, I was younger than she was in the script, and I had to gray up to perform that character. Now I'm past the age that character is, and still portraying that character. You know, so it's just the value of friendships, the value of your talent that you bring, the value of producing quality work, the value of you find a good formula, you don't reinvent the wheel. You add to it to enhance it, and that's what we're doing now. We're just enhancing with the new additions that God is bringing us just to become better. Yeah.
Well, you know, Tyler Perry, he did that with all his plays. He used a lot of the same characters, and he brought them into the TV shows and his movies. Mm-hmm. Because you gain a relationship and you gain trust and familyhood together. Mm-hmm. So, and it's easier to work. And he's actually adding more people, you know, as he go. And that's what we're doing. We're adding more people as we go. And
I want to say one thing. Mm-hmm. When the past comes back, Tyler Perry was actually doing a stage play at the same time that Mildred won that NAACP Theater Award called Think Like a Man. Not Think Like a Man. I can't remember what it's called. But he was in a play also at that same time. because I went back and looked at the program.
Uh-huh.
And this is before he became really famous.
Really?
He was on the same billing basically with us. And when the past comes back, when the past comes back is a real traditional kind of play. I mean, but it's timeless. All her pieces are timeless because hazing still goes on today. It, it seemed to have gone underground for a while, but I just recently, within the past 6 months, I saw something on TV about it. And it's a relationship piece again, but all of her work is timeless. And that was actually, I have to say this, one of my favorites. So I'm looking truly forward to it coming to the main theater.
Me too. I'd like to end this off with a very easy question. What's coming up next? Other than, of course, when the past comes back next year. But what's next for everybody here? And this is your time to plug. This is your time to go, well, we're going to do this too, or we're going to do also this. So feel free to plug right now. This is your plug-in area.
Well, I'll start off. We have been talking about the last year or two about turning the Grieving Riddles auxiliary, because we did that at the Main, into a sitcom. So we're working on the script right now for that.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. And Mildred?
I have begun writing that script. I have a few episodes in the can. When I get enough, we're going to start rehearsals on that. And I am planning to shoot at least one of my movies this year. I do have some movie scripts. I am a novelist, and I've written 4 novels. I have written the script for one of those novels. I wrote the screenplay for When the Past Comes Back. And last year when we were scheduled to do it at the Main and COVID stopped us, we were planning to do the play and then go right into the movie script. So COVID stopped all of that. But I do plan to shoot me at least one of my movies this year, so we shall see. I don't know what's coming up yet, but my last novel is called Black Eden, and I am now writing the screenplay for that novel. So we shall see.
Awesome. Well, I want to end this episode by saying thank you to Mildred, Tony, Naomi, Crystal. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I love working with you. I love seeing y'all. I hope to see
we
y'all
love working with you too, Stephen.
I love to see y'all in person before I officially leave Santa Clarita. But I want to say thank you to you. Thank you to Jeff Barber, Phil Lantis, and the rest of the City Santa Clarita staff and crew. Because without you, this would not be possible. Thank you to you, the audience who comes back and watches our show every Tuesday and Friday night. And please follow us on our Facebook page again, facebook.com/themain-newhall, to follow us for our other events such as 10x10, food sessions, and New Heights panels. Thank you so much. We hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day and stay safe. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.